are 5 reasons why Final Fantasy XIV is the best MMO. Any long-term Final Fantasy XIV player knows that there's just something specific that makes this game stick out to them more than any other MMO that they've played. But maybe you can't pinpoint exactly what that thing is. Maybe you can't even put it into words. So I'll do it for you. Before we get into it though, I just want to say thank you so much for almost 1,000 subscribers. A week ago, I posted my first ever video at 0 subscribers, and suddenly we're almost at 1,000. I don't even know what to say besides thank you. And that being said, if you're new, then please subscribe. I would really appreciate it. Reason number 1 is ease of access. Yeah, I'm talking about new players coming to this game. I have played dozens of MMOs in my lifetime, trying them out to see which one I'll finally stick around for. But I always felt like such an idiot when getting started. For example, or for comparison, I didn't start playing World of Warcraft until about 4 years ago. And despite that only being 4 years ago, the game has already been out for almost over 15 years since that point. And getting into World of Warcraft so late into its life is not a very forgiving thing. There's no direct path for you to take unless you spend a lot of time either asking players what to do or searching up YouTube tutorials of where you even need to go. And what I've learned is that players absolutely hate you for not knowing every nook and cranny in even some of the first dungeons in the game. And sometimes you can even be kicked for reason dumbass because you're a new player and you don't understand the mechanics yet because you're learning. I've personally never been kicked for that reason, but I've seen it happen to many players in my parties. Final Fantasy doesn't have these flaws. In fact, that type of behavior is actually bannable, which I am so happy about, and that's an entire different reason why the game is so good. Not only that, but Final Fantasy actually gives you a direct path to take. No YouTube tutorials are required to simply get started with playing the game, which some people could say is a bad thing because you don't have the freedom of choice immediately. Either way, something else that makes it stick out is how well the main story just pulls you into the game while also teaching you to play the game. I feel like a lot of MMOs force you into the rules and how to play the game. Like immediately you'll be shown a bunch of prompts of like what to do, how to do it. But when it comes to Final Fantasy, it flows well. Over time, you learn how to play the game. You learn mechanics over time. And in other games, that doesn't happen. Actually, in other games, sometimes you're just thrown right into it. So I really like how Final Fantasy eases you into the game, and I think that's a big reason why it's such an accessible game compared to other MMOs out there. Reason number 2 is the story. I'll admit it, I didn't really love Realm Reborn, and I thought Heaven's Word was okay at best. Please don't kill me, these are just my opinions, but I think that's fine. Early on, their budget was really low, and the amount of voice cutscenes were really minimal, the amount of special effects were minimal, everything was pretty minimal. And again, that's okay, they had a low budget, it's understandable. But once you get into the later expansions, this story becomes incredible. The entirety of Shadowbringers, in my opinion, felt like an awesome interactive movie. I'm just about finished with Endwalker now, and I feel extremely confident in saying that the story in this game, at least once you get a bit far into it, is a huge factor that grabs the heart of every player. There are players who decide to skip the entire story, and those are the same players that say the game is bad. They're literally skipping half of the game. And I'll be honest, when I was first getting into it, I did skip part of Realm Reborn. I regret doing that, and that's probably a reason why I don't like it as much as I like other expansions. But once I actually got myself into it, I ended up loving it, so I did go back and I watched all the cutscenes after the fact just to get caught up. Either way, like I said, if you really let yourself sink into the story of this game, when it's at its best, you'll fall in love with it. You'll feel this connection with your own character that you don't get to feel in any other game, and I think that's really cool. Like, I've never looked at my own character and felt, oh yeah, no, this guy's cool, he's done some cool stuff. But in this game, all that stuff actually happened, and it's your character, not just a default character that you're forced to play. Reason number 3 is class swapping. I think this is an extremely underrated feature, and not many other MMOs at all have this. In fact, this is one of the only MMOs, from my knowledge, that even allows you to level every class and every job on one character. The thing about Final Fantasy is you don't need to keep restarting the game. In other MMOs, if you wanted to try a new class, you'd have to replay all of the stuff you've already done over again. And if you want a 3rd class or a 4th class, you gotta do it all again and again, and it's just a huge repetitive repetitive grind, in my opinion. In Final Fantasy XIV, you do have to replay stuff. The best way to level your classes is through level roulette, trials, anything on the main page of the duty finder. Even that, in my opinion, is not nearly as repetitive as other games. Plus, there's many other ways to get XP, not just the duty finder, so you're not hard stuck on doing repeated content. There are other options. I think being able to switch your class whenever you want makes this game feel great. It also makes it feel really accessible as well. And I don't think nearly as many players would enjoy this game as much as they do right now if this feature did not exist. Like, I don't think people would tolerate having to replay so many things just to change their class. That also gives you the option to explore what your character might be the best with. If you think they look really cool as a warrior, then you can try something different and maybe you'll like that even more. And if you didn't have the option to try out different classes, then the only way to test if your character would look or feel better on a certain class would be to recreate that same character over and over again. Reason number 4 is roleplay. I personally don't do this. I did try it a couple times when somebody tried getting me into it, and I understand why people love it so much. It's just not something that I personally do. I understand that this also exists in other MMOs, but I feel like it's more accessible in this game. You can change your looks on the fly, meaning your outfit. I know you need a Fantasia to change your actual look, but you can change your hair, your outfit, all that, like on the fly. And there is so much character customization in this game, including your own voice. There's so many hair options for certain races. I'm still waiting to get my hair options. It's been years, please. They did add a couple. I'm super happy about that, but I'm not even using any of them because I like my current hair more. Okay, either way, there's also so many emotes in this game. This game has more emotes than any other game I've played. Maybe there's more in Fortnite, but there's a lot in this game. There's basically an emote for everything you might need. Not only that, but the areas are also really cool. People are always building custom areas that look amazing, and even some of the normal areas in this game just look really cool. More or less, I think this is one of the best games for getting into character, if that makes sense, mainly because the amount of options you have in this game is simply better. I don't really know what other word to use besides better. Do I think there could be improvements? Definitely. I mean, GTA Roleplay exists, and that seems like the most immersive roleplay possible. So yes, it does have its flaws, and it has its imperfections, and it's not like this is a game that millions of players run to for roleplay, but I do think it's one of the better games for it. Reason number 5, house building. You could also intertwine this with glamour, but I'm going to talk about that in another video. I love decorating in this game. I've never been rich enough to purchase my own house. I always either use FC rooms or a small apartment, but that doesn't stop me from decorating my own place to the best of my ability. I wish I could show you some of my projects, but the most I have right now is a little D&D room that I made, but I lost my FC room when that disbanded, and I lost my other apartment when I moved servers, so this is all I have. This is definitely not my best room ever. It's a bit too wide open. It's kind of cluttered with items, but I thought it would make for a pretty decent area to give people some D&D vibes. We got the table, we got the D&D sheets, we got all that stuff. I've been shown dozens and dozens of rooms from friends I've made in this game, and some of them are straight up inspiring. I can't even fathom having the creative juices to make some of these things that certain players have been making. I don't know how some people do it, but yeah, a lot of people make super crazy stuff. Just like many other aspects in this game, you have tons of options when it comes to building or decorating your own place to live. This game is the master of giving players freedom of choice, and I feel like it has more freedom of choice than any other game, and that is one of the biggest reasons why I think this game is loved by so many people and why there's so many people dedicated to this game. Like, this is the MMO that I'm gonna be playing for the longest time. I've tried so many other ones, and I just feel like this is the one for me because there's so many options that I can take, and none of them really feel forced. Or in other words, I don't feel like I have to do something. I can just choose what I want to do. That being said, these were 5 reasons why players love Final Fantasy XIV, and there's obviously so many other reasons, and I'm going to save the rest of those for future parts of this video. So if you want to see those parts as soon as they come out, then make sure you subscribe and turn notifications on. Again though, thank you so much for over 900 subscribers. I literally posted my first video at 0, and we're almost at 1,000. I don't even know what to say. But yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one.